If you could just check when it's live for me, please. I probably should have asked you that earlier.
1 minute.
1 minute.
That's what the jump masters say before we have them jump out.
Oh yeah, 1 minute. Okay, is it going? Okay, 1 second. It's taking a little time, isn't it? Good. All right. Okay. Hi, Allison. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Christine. All right. I am going to spotlight myself. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Teresa Stanton. For those of you that don't know me, I want to say welcome. I'm happy that you're here. And I just asked the group, you have the SDX 125, the 225, or the 325. So we kind of have, it sounds like a range between the 125 and the 325. And the reason I mentioned this is because your screen may appear a little bit differently than mine does. And if you get stuck at a spot where you can't figure out what you need to do because your screen doesn't look like mine, then all you need to do is say, hey, can you help me out here? And I'm sure that we can figure it out because I'm sure it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So what I'd like to do is before we get started, for those of you that are going to be following along, if you don't have your machine already set up, ready to go, now's the time to do that, as well as to print out the pattern piece. I've printed mine out on cardstock just so that you can see it. You do not need to do that. Just print it out on regular copy paper. This is just so you can see it, okay? So let me see by a show of hands, how many people are going to be following along? All right, cool. Very cool. Okay, so the other thing that I have to tell you is that it's quite, the timing is really off, but Brother has done an update to Canvas Workspace as well as your machine. Now, if you've done that update, which I have, Canvas Workspace update basically removed the ruler that was on the outside of your artboard, which I never use for myself, so it doesn't bother me. But they removed it in order to add a duplicate button, which is over on the right hand towards the bottom. I don't know why they did that because you could just right click and duplicate. Okay, so anyway, it caused major problems for people because if you have an operating system that's older than 0.13, I think that's the number, it's no longer compatible with your computer. And so you can't use it. Okay, so if you have not updated Canvas Workspace and you have an older operating system, or you want the ruler, don't do the update. The other update is on the machine, and I've done both. The machine has caused a problem, lucky me, but I have figured out how to work around it. And the only thing is that your screen may look, again, may look different than mine when we get to a certain point, and I think I may have some resolutions for you because let's face it, I am not, this is a disclaimer, I am not an expert on this machine. I've used it many times to cut kits. I've cut leather, vinyl, leather and vinyl backed with Decaville, both light and heavy. I've cut Selpa, I've cut Craftex, I've cut EVA foam, both with and without adhesive backing. I've cut a lot. I mean, I used to do kits in the beginning of doing our workshops, and I have probably cut well over 1,000 pieces on this machine. So I've done a lot of cutting. Plus I make the t-shirts for our demo darlings where I'm using HTV, and I've cut that too. And so I know how to cut and I've used the scan feature a few times. I don't normally use it, but that's what we're here today for, so that you can figure out how to scan a pattern piece in that you can now create into a cut file. Okay, so for those of you that are just joining us, I'd like to say if you don't have your machine up and ready and you plan to follow us, then you need to have it up and ready. And you also need to have your pattern piece printed out just on copy paper. It doesn't need to be on cardstock. The cardstock that I required in this supplies list is going to be used for cutting. And speaking of the supplies list, I want to say that I'm not being endorsed by Brother in any way, shape, or form to do this demo. They don't know me. They don't know I'm doing this. I did this because you guys were requesting it. A few years back, I did a video in the group. It's under guide number 2, I believe. And if you've never seen it or you're new to the machine, you haven't used it a lot, you might want to refer to that video because I go over the actual use of it for cutting, how to import an SVG file, those sorts of things, right? And there's quite a few files in that under that guide that gives you some more tips and tricks. I actually did a how-to. I printed out basically instructions or wrote out instructions for you of what I did and how to do it. So it's there for you to reference. And I will be doing a step-by-step written instructions for this too. So you don't have to always come back to the video. The video that I spoke of that's under guides in the main group right now is lengthy because there's other demonstrations in that video. Was during our holiday happy hour. And so I can't remember if Teresa wrote timestamps or not, or time frames or not, but if it's not, you'll have to find it. I think it's the last part of the video. I can't remember. It's been 2 years, 3 years, something. I don't know. Anyway, okay, welcome everybody. Let's see. So that's the update. Let me take my spotlight up. How many of you have done the update on the machine? Okay, how many of you done the update on Canvas Workspace? Okay, how many of you have used your machine or Canvas Workspace since the update? Any issues? Any issues? What, Hope? What was your issue?
When I did the machine update, it couldn't find the network.
Right. Okay, you're absolutely right. And the simple trick to that is you go into the settings in your machine and you scroll down to notifications, I think it is. Anyway, wherever in the settings where it shows your network.
Mhm.
Okay, and you click on that and you go down to the wizard and it'll basically walk you through as if you'd never installed it before. It's basically taking it out and putting it back in and
It didn't work that way. I had to reset it with a pin.
with a pin.
Mhm.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All
And
right.
that I found on Jennifer Brody's
On her in her
Facebook.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, hopefully you guys don't have issues, and hopefully those that updated Canvas Workspace is not unhappy about the fact that the ruler is gone. I don't use it, so it's not a problem for me.
So Teresa, I had to just redo my password for my network and then it worked.
Okay,
So I
perfect.
had to say no because it wanted to automatically go find my password. So I had to say no and then manually type it in and it worked.
Okay, good to know. So for those of you that haven't used it since you update, just know that it may not recognize that you're connected to the internet, basically. That's what it is. So you're gonna have to kind of either back out of it, reconnect, add your password, or put a pin, whatever it is that it's asking for you to do, okay? All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna spotlight my machine. This is my machine. And over here,
It looks just like mine.
oh, imagine that. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to look at the pattern. And I just want to identify, since we are going to be drawing as well as cutting, I want you all to identify the areas that are going to be cut versus the areas that are going to be drawn. And for those of you that took the TESA workshop. This might look vaguely familiar to you. In that workshop, we were required to not only cut, but do some drawing on some stabilizer. And so because some of you are probably, why are we drawing on our pattern piece? Well, in this case, this is very useful because there were a lot of lines that needed to be drawn and needed to be accurate, right? So what we have here, use my little stylus. We're going to cut this outside line, okay? This is the outside line we're going to cut. We're also going to cut this inside line here. So the middle line is our draw line. And we're going to get rid of the words something out of nothing. Okay. So just FYI, keep it in your mind that this is our draw line and everything else will be cut that is saved. Okay. So you're going to need your pattern piece and you're going to need your scanning mat. This is my scanning mat. As you can see, it says scanning mat here. It doesn't have any grid on the mat itself, and it has this cellophane, right? Oh, and let me just say to you guys, I'm perfectly fine with you having your mics on. This is very not workshop like in that regard. And if you have a question, you will need to just basically shout it out, because when I start sharing my screen, I won't, well, even right now, because I'm spotlighted, I can't see you. Okay. So if you have a question, you don't have to raise your hand. So put your pattern under the cellophane. I like to place it all the way up at the top, even at the top. It doesn't matter if it's evenly spaced side to side, but I like to put it at the top mainly because when this gets transferred to Canvas Workspace, your map, the artboard will have the grid on here, and these lines will line up with the lines on the grid if that matters to you. For me, it makes me crazy because I think I have something crooked. So for instance, if I had this in here like that, then these lines are not going to line up with the grid. And it doesn't matter in this case, but it might matter to you if that kind of thing makes you crazy. And for those of you that took our pattern drafting course, just know that you can use Canvas Workspace to create some patterns, right? Now, I don't know its limitations in terms of just how fancy you can get, but they have all kinds of shapes already loaded in Canvas, and you can do some freehand drawing. So it might be something you want to explore, okay? All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to load the mat into, oh, I want to ask you guys something. When you are cutting this, if you were to cut this by hand with a rotary cutter or scissors, I'm going to remove my spotlight. How many of you would cut along the outside edge of the line by a show of hands? How many of you would cut on the inside of the line by a show of hands? Okay. And then maybe depending on how wide the line is, you might cut right down the middle, right? For me, I cut along the outside. And because I do that, I want to be able to maximize my space so that if for some reason I didn't cut it properly to size, I still have something to trim off if it's too big. Now, some people, this is really important. Exact measurements are really important. And some people, it's not that big of a deal because we're talking a matter of maybe 3/32 of an inch. But when you add those up all the way around, it can make a difference. And depending on your pattern, it can make a difference. So the reason I ask where you cut is because I've built in some hiccups, if you will, into this pattern so that you'll see why I'm asking. Okay, so we're going to load this back into the mat. And for those that measurements and exact measurements are important, you might want to have a ruler around later on. I didn't put it on the supplies list because I am not going to use it, but I'll tell you why you would use it momentarily. Okay. So
Teresa?
yes,
Teresa?
ma'am.
Okay, so I just updated my machine, and when I went, it said I wasn't connected to the internet. So now it's like for the last 2 minutes, it's been saying, I put in my password, it's saying connecting to WLAN. I'm clueless. And
You
it's
have-
the little things going around.
You have to reset the pin.
What does that mean?
Yeah, don't remember exactly what I did, but you had to change the setting in the scan and cut, because that's what happened to me.
You have to change the setting? How do I do that?
You have to go to Jennifer Brody's Facebook page, it's there somewhere, and just search for pin.
Oh, okay.
Carol, let me,
Well, I'm all ready, but I'm not going to be able to do it until I do that. Okay, I'm
let
listening.
me, Carol, let me see if we can walk you through that part, okay?
Yeah,
Let me see if we can. All right, so again, I can't see you guys, but if you just bear with me for a moment. Carol, does your screen look like this?
No, my screen I did see, I went to the tool and then I went to my network and I put in the password and now let me show you what my screen looks like.
I know what it looks like.
Okay, I don't know if you can see that.
Let's see.
Yeah, you have to turn it off and on again.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it off and on again.
Turn it off. Okay. All right, so let
I'm
me,
sorry.
that's okay. What I'm going to suggest to everyone is that if you have done an update, don't do it.
Yeah, well,
Don't
you
do-
said to do it, so that's why I did it.
No, I was saying if you haven't done it, don't do it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's just my suggestion. Because quite personally, again, the update has only changed the ruler being gone and adding a duplicate button, neither of which mattered to me. But that's just me. And the machine itself, I'm going to show you I will share with you the issues that it has created. Okay. All right.
Okay, I have that screen now.
Okay. So then that means you're in, right?
I
You
guess.
have that same screen, you're good. All right. Let's take our mat and we're going to load it. When you load your mat, now I'm going to walk you guys through this as if you've never done this, okay? Because some people may not have. So you got to put your mat in here so that the top corners fall underneath these two ridges, right? Make sure it's there and make sure that it falls underneath the rollers. So if you're there, then I want to show you what I'm doing. I'm supporting the end of my mat with my left hand. I'm just basically keeping it lifted because otherwise it drops down, right? Because there's space underneath. So I'm just holding it up and I'm going to help support it while it goes into the machine. And then what we're going to do, we're going to come up here and over here, third button down, that is your load mat button. We're going to press that. Before you do though, when you press it, I want to show you, you're going to also put your hand here and just kind of gently guide the mat inside the machine. Okay. So I'm going to put my left hand back underneath the bottom of my mat. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to press the load mat and then I'm going to help guide it. And it's going in crooked. Pause. Pause. You see that? Now I didn't plan that. It says the mat not recognized. Well, no kidding. Let's unload it. So somehow I didn't get it underneath the rollers. So we're going to do it again. Good example of what not to do. And help guide it. Now it should go in properly. Okay, so the mat is now loaded. Does everyone have your mats loaded? I can't see you, so if no one's ready, you're gonna have to say, okay, you're good. All right. Okay, so now up here, you have your options of pattern and scan. We're gonna scan today, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna choose scan. Now, the one thing I mentioned in the previous video is that this machine was originally designed for pattern crafters, so like scrapbookers, that sort of thing. So you have to remember that when you see some key features that you don't know what they're for. So for instance, this right here, a cut means that let's say you had a postcard or a card that had like a little flower or a heart or something on it that you wanted to cut away from the card. You would load that card onto your cutting mat, not your scanning mat. You'd load it onto your cutting mat, you'd load your mat, and you would select direct cut. Then you would then go through the steps of what it is you want to cut on there, and it would cut it directly. So that's what that's for. That's not what we're doing. But we are going to use the second feature, which is scan to cut data. So go ahead and click that one. Now it's telling you what it's going to do and what you need to do. So it says create, cut, or draw data from image. Well, we're going to do both. And it says put material to scan on the mat and set it to the machine and press start. Now I want to point out right here, it says your scan area is a 12 by 12. If you have the same machine as I do, which is the SGX 125, this machine will not scan a 12 by 24 mat. It will cut on a 12 by 24 cutting mat, but it will not scan a 12 by 24 mat. Okay, so I don't have a 12 by 24 scanning mat for that very reason. If you have a machine that will accept the 12 by 24 scanning mat, then you would press the wrench and you would change it. You would go here and you would have the option of changing it to a 12 by 24. I don't have that option, okay? Okay, so we are set to go. We're just gonna press start. And you see this, now this is something I built in so that you understand what it is. It says scanner lever is set to position 2. Refer to scanner lever and then press start. There is a scanner lever and it's on the left-hand side of your machine. It's over here. And all you've got to do, it's in the up position right now. If yours is in the up position, push it down. That's all you have to do. And then you're going to come back over here and you're going to press start. Everybody with me?
Yes.
Okay. So it's scanning.
And why would you scan on one? I usually just leave that on two.
It won't, because 2 is for thicker material and this is just paper. And it's basically telling you to get a better image, you need to have it up higher, basically. That makes sense?
So was it supposed to be on one, up or down?
Down. Mhm.
Okay, I put it down. Okay.
Okay, so did everybody get theirs scanned?
Yes.
All good?
Yes.
So here is what my image looks like. So this is why I used pink paper so you could see it. Now this is where you may not have the same image on your screen as I do. I believe Sue's is a 325 and hers, I think, says preview, Sue?
Yes, it actually says recognizing what it's doing.
Recognize.
Yeah.
Is it still recognizing?
Yep, it's still spinning because I
Okay.
just did it. So now
Okay.
it's up. Yeah.
Okay, so what does your screen say, Sue?
Okay, right, hang on. I'll do this and I'll show you.
Oh, wait, I have to move my spotlight. Let me show
Hang on
you.
a second, I'm getting a glare. Where am I? Oh, there. Okay.
That's what mine looks like, and I have
Okay.
125.
Okay, that's okay because you will get to the screen that I'm showing you. This is what Sue's is. So see in the middle of Sue's screen, the 3
Okay.
icons, the middle icon is the one you're going to select, but don't select it yet. Okay. Give me just a second because I want to get everybody. Does anybody have what is on my screen? Is that on yours? Sandy?
Yeah, I have the SDX 330D,
Okay, interesting.
and it's exactly like your screen.
Okay. All right. So this is the problem child since the update. So normally I would take these arrows and I don't want any of the pink edges of the paper. I don't want that in my image because then I just have to remove it because it creates a line. Normally, I would take these arrows and I would drag them up to frame as close to what it is I'm cutting and drawing to just have that on my image. But it causes a problem. And later I'll show you what the problem is. But for now, I do not want you to frame. I just want you to say, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so now ours is recognizing like Sue's was.
Yeah.
Mine looks like Susan. I have your machine.
Yeah, you know, isn't it the strangest thing?
I know.
Maybe that was your update, make it look like that.
Well, we can all look later at what
Yeah.
each version we have to see.
Yeah.
So now you see, I only have 2 options. Sue had 3.
I have 3.
Okay, so it's okay. So let's just identify quickly. This option on the left is saying I'm only going to recognize the outside line.
Okay.
That would be great and very useful if you had a pattern that say like this. It's just a square and you just want to cut the, or sorry, rectangle, and you just want to cut the outside line out. Because if otherwise, if you use that feature, which is the second button over, then it's going to import everything that's here. And then you have to remove all of it, right? So the easy thing to do if you're just doing the outside of a pattern is to choose this, and I'll show you what it does. You don't have to choose it, but I don't know if you can see, but it's only highlighting the outside. On my screen, I can actually see very dimly the inside lines that we didn't choose, but that's not what we want. We want this one, which is going to identify all the lines. You see the difference?
Yes.
Okay. So is everybody here with me?
Yes.
Okay, so you want us to go ahead and push that.
I
second-
want you to select OK. Yeah, select this button if you haven't, and then select OK. And now it's processing. So here we are, it's asking, or it's not really asking, it's assuming you understand what it's asking. It's asking you where you want to save the image that we just scanned in. It's an unedited image. Where do you want to save it? If you didn't need to do any editing, you could save it directly to the machine and then go about your business cutting it. Or if you want to work on it later, you could add it to a thumb drive and go about your business. But today we want to edit it, and it shows this little icon of a computer, which makes you think it's going to your computer. But if you look closely, there's the symbol of the Brother Scan and Cut in the middle. It's actually sending it to the waiting room of Scan and Cut. So that's the one we want. I want you to press that
And
one.
I can't go there because it won't let me.
What's that, Carol?
It says I'm not on the network.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So give me a second then. Let's see if we can get back here. Let's go here. So Carol, are you seeing what I'm looking at?
Oh, what you no, okay, go back.
Okay, so let me go back home. This is home, right? You don't have this screen right now, right?
Okay, home. Okay, let me go to home. No, cancel. I tried to go back and it's asking me to delete the pattern, which I can.
Okay.
And okay, I'm back at that screen now.
All right, you're gonna go here.
Okay.
Then you're gonna go down. Keep going down until you find, where is it? Network. Do you see that?
Yeah, well, that's what I did before, but yeah,
And you
okay.
click the arrow.
Uh-huh. And I
So
did,
what does this say, on or off?
it says WLAN enable on. Yeah,
Turn it off
okay,
and then go down to Setup Wizard.
okay. Enable, yes.
Find your network, which is
Oh,
Wi-Fi.
okay. I
Click
did,
it.
okay,
Okay, that's mine.
okay.
Right. And
Now
click
I have to
OK.
enter password. That's what I did before, but I didn't turn it off or whatever. So y'all go ahead.
Okay.
I don't want to keep you from.
All right.
Thank you.
You're no problem. Let me get out of this. Okay, so for those of you that scanned in, your screen should say that it was done saving the data. You can get out of that. Okay, you can get all the way back out to this screen. You can cancel. You don't need to save any of that data. Unedited. All right. So now we're going to go to Canvas Workspace. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. You guys open up your Canvas Workspace. Mine is down here on my toolbar. Okay, so you see here, this always pops up because I don't say don't ask again.
Yeah.
And this is the latest version, the 2.6.3, and that's the one that has added the duplicate function, but it also removed the ruler. So we're just going to say, okay, we're going to X out of this. And I'm just going to maximize my screen so that you can see. This is our artboard. I got to move this out of my way. Sorry. So all of these shapes over here on the right are the ones I was referencing earlier. If you say wanted to try your hand at drafting patterns, okay, you can use these shapes, you can freehand, you can do a lot of things if you play with it. But we're not going to use any of those today. We're going to go over here all the way over to the right. Up here at the top, these icons over here are the ones we're going to pay attention to. The top one we're not going to use. If I click on it, it's basically allowing you to do some fill lines. This is if you're creating your own images. Okay, we're not going to use properties. The next one down, if you highlight over, it says edit. We will use that. We will also go to the next one down, which is layers. And then the last one is your artboard. And I'm just going to show you briefly for those of you that have worked with SVG files that would require your mat to be a 12 by 24. You know that you have to come into Canvas first. You have to come here and you have to select your 12 by 24 mat before you import that SVG file. Because if it belongs on a 12 by 24 mat to be edited or whatever you're going to do with it, if you don't do this first and you're still, because it defaults to 12 by 20, 12 by 12, then it's going to import your file on a 12 by 12 mat. It'll shrink it down. It'll tell you that it's shrunk it down to fit your mat. So that's not what you want. So you have to open Canvas first. Okay. Janice, I saw you had your hand raised. You have a question?
I did. I had a file up before I imported your file,
Mm-hmm.
and it just overlaid it. And
Just delete it unless you want to save it.
yeah, I just went in and deleted the individual pieces.
Right now, you guys
Is that
should
how you would normally do that? Just delete the images?
Yeah, you can literally go up if you have an undo button. I love it. But otherwise, you can come up here to the very left corner with a red light. You're going to basically close everything and have to reopen Canvas. That's the easiest way. Or you can highlight the whole image, right click and delete.
Because when you save it, it doesn't go away. It just stays there. It's really kind of annoying.
It saved it. Yeah, it saves it into Canvas, but you have to still get it off your artboard.
Yeah, exactly.
So you couldn't go into file and press new?
Say it again.
So she could not go into file and then hit new? And
She
it would
could
give
do
her.
that too. Yeah, absolutely. You would have two files open. I've
Right.
never worked with two files at the same time, and there might be a little glitch about that, especially with the new update. So I wouldn't personally do that, at least.
I can't, the PC won't let me have
Yeah,
two
yeah.
files. And
Did file new, you would have two artboards that would overlay each other. Is that?
No, you would have a separate artboard opened up.
Like two pieces of paper on top of each other.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So everyone should have a blank artboard right now, right?
I don't know.
What do you
I
have?
don't.
What do you have?
I have I open up Canvas Workspace on the space on the internet, right?
No, you need to go through the app. Sorry. You
Well,
can't.
where's the app, on the phone or on the computer?
I have mine on the computer. Normally, the Canvas Workspace through the browser doesn't have all the key features that you're going to find in the app. And I'm using the app, so they will not interface the same.
What system is she working on her PC?
Say it again.
Is she on Windows? She may not
On
have.
Windows, but I don't know where to get the app at.
So if you just go in your browser, the simplest thing to do is search Brother Scan and Cut Canvas Workspace.
download.
Canvas
I'm
Workspace
on Canvas Workspace.
app. Do a search for the app because it's probably a download from their website, and I don't know exactly where it's at.
It
So
is
Brother Scan and Cut.
download.
Do it for your machine.
That you're going to do Canvas Workspace app. Okay.
Yeah, I tried to find it on my phone and I never could, so I didn't know what the deal was.
I don't ever do any work on my phone, so I cannot help you
Yeah.
in that regard. So you should and you know what, you'll still be able to follow along this with the recording if you can't keep up with us because you don't have the app. All right.
Still don't find the app when I Google Canvas Workspace app. I don't find it.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Wait a
Okay.
minute, down the bottom I see something. Hang on a second.
Teresa, just so that everybody knows, definitely the internet, whether scan and cut and the app are two different things.
Absolutely.
And you have, because I've had a lot of people who contacted me trying to open up the SVG file.
Yep.
And they absolutely could not. And the end result was they did not have the downloaded version. You have
Right.
to have the
You
downloaded.
have to do I don't even know why they have the website version because it's almost useless anymore. So I guess I should have mentioned that. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay, no problem. I'll mess
Yeah.
with it later.
Okay.
I'm not sure what I have either, because like my right side is grayed out and it doesn't even have
So
like,
you are probably, let me see, hold on, Sandy. Do you have an arrow or anything over in the right-hand corner that would expand this? Do you see these options?
yeah, I see those icons. Yeah.
Can
and
you
I-
click on them?
Yes.
Okay, then you're good.
But
You're good.
then nothing within the column is lit up. It's all gray.
What column are you referring to?
When like where yours says artboard, that column,
Okay.
and all mine are just grayed out.
Okay, so let me see. When you click on that's because we haven't pulled anything in yet, more than
Okay.
likely. So let's see. Let's just
Yeah,
try this, okay?
Yeah.
So I was just basically pointing out these are the tools that we're going to use. So now let's go up to the top of your screen and you're going to click on File. Everybody see where File is? Click on File. And now you're going to import from your cutting machine. And you know, the very basic mind that I have would tell me to click on scanned image, but because we
Yeah.
right? But that is not the one you choose. You choose FCM file. Okay, that's the one you're going to choose. FCM is Brother's proprietary extension for a cutting file. So instead of SVG, it's FCM. I think of it in terms of standing for fancy cutting machine, although that's not really what it really stands for. Okay, so you see what got imported, right?
Yeah.
Does everybody have something similar to what's on my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to increase my view here so you can see that what you see on the screen doesn't look a lot like what the pattern looks like, does it?
It's a shadow line.
It's got a lot of lines. The
Yeah.
word something out of nothing is probably indiscernible. And it also has double lines for these rectangles, right? And then it has the outside line from the paper. So some of these things I've built in, some of them are just innate to the process. That's because when a pattern designer creates PDFs to sell, they don't do so with the thought in mind that you're going to take that pattern and scan it into the machine to create a cut file. Now, they may create cut files for you, but they don't create the PDF with that in mind. So you may encounter something that looks just like this, a lot of gobbledygook, squiggly lines that are, why is this here? And if you framed the image, you would have even more of a mess here, and I'll show you that later. So this is why I'm sharing this with you so that you know why this is happening. It's created as a PDF. It wasn't created to be made into a cut file, but we're going to do that today. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to now go to layers. I want everyone to go to layers. So what you have on your image, every one of these lines, whether it's straight or squiggly, is called a layer or a shape, okay? And we have to get rid of the stuff we don't want, right? The stuff we don't want, obviously, is all this on the outside, as well as the written words. But what else do we not want? Hope, do you have a question?
Yes, I pulled up the image from the scanner and I got an old image that I was working on 6 months ago. And
Oh,
I just
I
redid it and I got the same thing.
you've done it twice and you still have the same thing?
Yes, I have a Tessa pattern piece.
Okay.
It was when I clicked on the scanned image instead of the FCM. It's when I clicked on FCM, it came up with the right thing.
Okay, so Hope, you did click on FCM, not scanned image, right?
Uh, uh,
When you chose to import it from your machine?
Import from cutting machine. Okay.
FCM.
No, I didn't. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. All right. So here we are with our images that need to be edited.
Yep.
So some pattern pieces, okay, notice all of these squares over here on the right-hand side, right? See all these squares? That's a lot of squares that have to be either kept or deleted, which means you have to go through each one to determine if it's something you want to keep or get rid of. So there's a few ways to approach this. You can go, well, I know that I want to get rid of all of this that's around my image, and I know I want to get rid of all of this. So if you come over to the right-hand side and you see a bunch of rectangle, 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 oh, there's a squiggly line. And then we got a bunch of squiggly lines. Obviously, those represent the writing. And then you go down with a bunch of more rectangles and lines, right? The quick way, well, the basic way is you start at the top, you click on the shape, it highlights the line that represents that shape. So if I zoom in, you can see that it's highlighting one of those two lines that represents the innermost cut line, right? But for me, it's hard to tell exactly which one it's on because they're so close together. So you could literally go, I'm going to go at this one step at a time, and you would just, on your keyboard, you would select delete. And by deleting that, I recognize that that is not the line I wanted to delete. And I'll show you why. I'm going to zoom in a little more. You see the built-in weird corners that I have here? You don't want that, right? We don't want to cut that way. Simple reversal is just go over here to the left-hand corner and select back button. It brings it back. So you can see that was the innermost line. So going back to where the question was, where do you cut? Do you cut the outside line or do you cut the inside line? I cut the outside line. And for me, the innermost line would also be the outside line because that's saving the most material, if that makes sense to you. So I want to keep that one. So that was the first shape, right? We'll go down to the next shape. That's highlighting the one that I now want to get rid of. So you select delete. And you could go along to each one of these and decide if it's something you want to keep or get rid of and do what you want to do. Keep it or get rid of it. That's the slow way of doing it. The fast way to do it is go, okay, well, I know I'm getting rid of all this stuff. I know that. And I know that that's all of these shapes right through here. I can tell by looking at them. But if you don't know, click on it. That's that one, right? So I've highlighted the second letter or whatever that squiggly line is. And I want to get rid of all of those letters all at the same time. So the first one is highlighted. I'm going to hold down my shift key. Just hold it down and then highlight all of these other shapes at the same time. And this way, once you've highlighted anything you've highlighted, you can now delete it. See that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gotten rid of the words, but we still have all these lines out here to get rid of and the double lines, right? Let me go
An
back.
easy way also,
Yep.
when you were clicking on each one of those shapes, click on the first one, hold down your shift key and click on the bottom one that you want and it'll highlight them all.
Teresa, I don't have the sidelines.
You don't have what?
The sidelines.
Are you talking about these lines here?
Yeah, I don't have
That's
the,
okay. You know why you don't have it? Because you probably used a white sheet of paper and it didn't pick it up.
oh, right, that's it.
Yeah, everybody's image might be slightly different than mine, and that's okay. And Elaine, I appreciate what you're saying. What she's saying is that if you want to select everything, you just do exactly what I did. You hold your shift key down, you start with the top one, go down to the bottom one, and it highlights them all, right? We're not going to do that today.
Yeah, everything be gone.
Right? So we're not going to do that. But what I do want to do, I need to go back out a little bit farther so you can see this. Okay, we want to now get rid of all these outside lines, right? So if you look at, again, you can look, well, these are rectangles, rectangle, rectangle. Those represent the lines of some of the lines that we want to keep, but we've got a straight line. What is that one? That, we don't want that. Let's get rid of it. Okay, there's another straight line. Let's get rid of that. So just go through, if you have these lines like I do, you're going to select it and you're going to get rid of it. And if you're confident enough to go through and just start selecting what you don't want, you can do that right now. I'm just getting rid of all these outside lines that I don't want. So now we're left with the lines we either want to cut or don't want to cut, as well as the line we want to draw or don't want to draw. So how do we know which one of these to get rid of? This is where the person that it's very important, measurements are very important to you, that you're going to go to your pattern piece with your ruler. You're going to measure the ruler based on where you would cut it by hand. And then let's say we're talking about the outside line, for instance. We'll come up to the edit. Now we're on the edit screen. Right here where it says width and height, it gives you the measurements of what this is. So if the exact measurement and the difference between it is probably about, like I said, 3/32 or maybe even smaller between the outside line and the next line up. If it matters to you that much, or if it matters to the pattern that much, then you select the line that most represents the size of the pattern that you have, the paper pattern that you have. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
for instance, if I take my pattern out of my scanning net and I measure, taking the measurement from the very outside, because that's where I would normally cut, then I get 8 5/8. And this is, well, 8 5/8 is not the same as 8.58. 8 5/8 is 8.625 in a decimal form. So that's as close as that's going to get. And because this was freehanded, okay, this is not an exact measurement. All right, so hopefully that I didn't confuse anybody in that regard. So what we're going to do is go back to layers and we're going to go, all right, let's maybe increase the view here a little bit. I still can't really identify which line it's highlighting, right? So I'm just going to delete it and see what I'm left with. And I'm left with a line that's squiggly. So that's not the one because I built this in for you. So you know how to identify and get rid of things you don't want. So we're going to undo that. That was the first line. We're going to keep that box. We're going to go to the next one. Wait a minute, was I on the wrong one? That's the one. I was on the bottom box. Sorry. So I'm going to go up to the next box, and that's the inside line, and we're going to delete that one. So now, sorry, I did it again, didn't I? That's not what I wanted. I want to keep the second one up. I want to delete the bottom one.
Okay.
If you have a squiggly line, which you should have a bit of a weird corner on that image. If you don't, well, that's great. Okay, now we're left with lines that are right angled, right? So now we need to go up to the next one. So we've kept the bottom line. That's the one we want. The next line up brings you up to your draw line. Now, if you go back to the Tessa, you remember that there are a bunch of lines that needed to be drawn and they were specifically spaced. So if at this point, if that's important to you, but now you need to know, well, what is the measurement between this cut line here and the next draw line? So again, you would go back to, you can go back to your edit board, but it's not going to give you this measurement. But what you can do is you can come over here to the left, and where it says path, you would click on that. Okay. And now I want to know the measurement between this line and the first line. So I would click right here on this line, and I'm using the grid line on the artboard so I can do a straight line. So I'm going to click on this line, and then that's going to bring a line for you that you go right up to the next line and you double click. And now you've got a measurement, a height of 0.38. That's probably about 3/8 of an inch from this line to that first line. So if that is the measurement of where your first draw line is, then you know that's the line you want to keep. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Anybody lost on this?
I am, because when let me see if I can go back to my other screen. All right, because my inner square, I have 2 lines in my very center one. So I need to get rid of the.
We can get to that. We're just working on,
Okay,
yeah, you had to get rid of whichever line you choose. It doesn't matter at this point. For this demonstration, doesn't matter which line you choose to get rid of, as long as there's still a rectangle.
okay. And then let me just give it one.
Then you go to the path,
And then I went to the path.
and then you put your cursor right on the line, the innermost line,
Yep,
click it,
yep.
then drag your arrow up to the next line and double click it. Do you have this?
Okay, yeah, I've got it.
Okay, then you look over here to the height, and it tells you that mine says 0.38. What does yours say?
I don't even have here. Oh, here we go. It tells me 5 inches or 2.78 on my height, and my width is 5
Are you measuring from the inner line to the next line up?
Yeah, I've got
No, are you looking at the X and Y, or are you looking at width and height?
okay, my width is 0.01 and then 0.42 height. It's a 0.42. So
okay, so then more than likely you drew that line to the next line up, not the first one, which is fine.
I just need to zoom in so I can see it better.
Yeah, so just know that if these lines, the measurement is crucial to be accurate, then you're going to measure what this line is. And if it's close to the measurement is supposed to be, like in this case, let's say it's 3/8 of an inch. 0.375 is 3/8 of an inch exactly. This has 0.38. If you have 0.42, then you are more than likely on the second line. Does that make sense, Sandy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to undo this. We don't need it for this purpose. It's just to show you how to find that measurement, right? So we know, or I know, that that first line is the one I want to keep. So the second line is the one I want to get rid of. So where was that? That's this one here. Okay. So for me, that is the third shape down, and I'm going to delete it. Okay. So what are we left with? We are left with 3 solid lines. So is everybody here?
Yes.
Okay. So now hard
Okay,
work.
hold on. I've got 5 squares on the right here. Hold on, I need to get rid of some lines.
Okay.
That's
No problem.
my side line.
Janice, you have a question?
Yes, I have 4 layers.
You have 4 layers?
Yeah, the inner box has the left border is a separate shape, and then the 3 sides is a shape.
So if you click on the left border, is it a line that goes all the way around?
It just goes straight up and down.
Okay. Delete it and tell me what you end up with.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, my corners are not sharp. They're little.
Did I end up with 3 sides with the bottom shorter than the top?
Okay, that's okay. Janice,
no left side.
Janice, did you frame your image?
No.
Okay.
Not on the machine, no.
And is your machine the updated version?
The machine is updated, the
Okay.
app is not.
Okay. So, I'm not quite sure how to help you with this simply because I can't see it. But what I would suggest is you can, as a practice, because I'm gonna show you part of this when you frame it, what it looks like, and then maybe you can see better what it is that I'm seeing, okay, and what you might be seeing as well, and what framing does. But it could be that the update has caused some changes. You should have a complete
Right.
rectangle that are right angle and without any extra lines.
Should I try to rescan it and import it?
You can do that, or you can do some undo because maybe you deleted the wrong square
Okay.
or rectangle, I should say.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. I'll start with that.
Okay. So does anybody
But it
else
only undoes to a certain,
say it again?
it didn't undo everything.
Okay, so then you're gonna have to import it back in.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna do that again. So if you guys want to follow along at that point, if you just want to practice it again, because I want to show you what happens when you frame. All right, so does everybody have 3 rectangles that look similar to what mine does?
Yes.
Okay, so the easy part now is we remembered that we're gonna cut the outside line, we're gonna cut the inside line, but we're gonna draw a line. So if you look over here at your shapes to the right, you see this symbol. If you hover over the symbol, it is a knife symbol and it's meant to be cut. So if I click on that shape, it's telling me the inside line is set to be cut. We want that. Okay. So then we select a second shape. Sorry, let me select it. And that's the middle line that we're going to draw. But it's still set to cut because my machine, or sorry, the Canvas Workspace defaults to cut. If you click on that knife, that symbol, you can change it to draw. Okay, so it changes to draw. And then of course, the last one is the outside line. So the outside and the inside, we're going to cut. The middle is going to be drawn. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
No problem. Okay, so the last thing we have to do is we have to group these because right now, if I do this, look what happens. Oh my God. All I got to do is undo to put that back where I want it. If you don't group, then you can cause your pieces to move independent of each other and you don't want that. So all you have to do, a couple of ways of doing this, you can just put your cursor on one of the lines. Sorry, I didn't group it yet. Put your cursor on one of the lines, highlight one of the lines, and then drag. Come on, why are you doing this? Go back. Okay, highlight, what we want to do. You just put your cursor somewhere outside and highlight. Or you can come over to the shapes. Let's say I didn't do that. Click one, just like we did earlier. Hold your your shift button down and highlight all 3 of them. Does everyone have their images highlighted? All 3 lines should be blue.
Yes.
Anybody not here? Okay, so now that we've highlighted, your option is to right click and group, or you could come up to layers and it won't group now because they're already grouped, but you could ungroup, but this would be light highlighted so that you could choose group from there as well. That makes sense to everyone. Everything's grouped, so now you can move it around the page and it moves by itself as one.
Yeah.
Yes, we're good. Okay.
Over the last part again, I highlighted all 3 in the blue, and then how do you group them?
Right click or go up to where it says layers. And then you select group.
Or you can press Control G on the keyboard.
Or you can press Control G. I'm not really good with those, remembering those numbers or those.
I work mostly on the keyboard.
There you go. Okay, so does everybody have their image grouped?
No.
And everybody has their center shape as a draw line?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to send it back over to the machine to cut and draw. So you're going to come up here to File. You're going to Export, Transfer, FCM file, click that. And then you're going to select Transfer via the internet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go off this until I know everybody has gotten to this point. Is anybody behind? Okay, so select Transfer. And this box comes up, a pop-up box, basically telling you that it's ready. You say, okay, this box doesn't go away until you X out of it. So we're going to X out of that. We are done here. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to go back to my machine. So if you haven't already done so, which I have not, I've taken my pattern out, but I have not unloaded my mat. So you got to come up here and press the unload button. Take it out. You're done with that. All right. And now what you're going to need is you're going to need your cutting mat. Which I'm going to take the plastic off. This is my cutting mat. Piece of paper on it. Okay. Let's see if I can get you better here. This is my dirty cutting mat. I actually cleaned a section right here so that I could show you how to tack it, re-tack it, and we'll do that later if you want to see that. Get this out of the way. Okay, so I have my cutting mat, and I know that when we loaded the pattern piece into the scanning mat, it was placed up here horizontally. So that's where it's going to show up on your mat in the cutting machine. So I'm just going to place my cardstock. This is where you need your cardstock, and I'm going to place it up along the top, and I use my brayer to put it down. Now, if your mat isn't super tacky, Sue, you might need a little tape. You might need a little bit of painter's tape. And I would suggest putting that down here, along here, and along here, avoiding this black line up here. You want to avoid these black lines if you can. And your image is somewhere in the middle here. It doesn't take up the whole page, so you can come in probably at least a half an inch to an inch on all borders in terms of the paper. Okay. Does everybody have their cardstock mounted to your cutting mat? Do not use a fabric mat or the heavy tack mat if you're doing this with cardstock, especially if your mat is really sticky, because this will be hard to get off and it's going to be a mess to clean up. Okay. All right. So are we ready to move forward?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go over here to my machine. Now the things you're going to need, again, I like to use my stylist. I always use my spatula because you're not supposed to put your hands on the cutting mat. It transfers the oils from your hands and reduces the tack of the mat. Okay. I didn't put this on the list, but I'm also going to have a stiletto. This is to help get the paper off the mat. Then I also have, this is the brother holder for the pen and the marking pen. Now, if you want to use the universal pen, this is the one. I have the universal pen, and just my personal opinion, I'm not impressed with it overall, but I'll show you how to use it. And I'm going to show you how to use it first. So if you're going to use this, get it out and get your little scrap of paper. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this before we even load the mat. All right, so let me get my pens over here. So I have all these pens. This is called a universal pen holder. And for the life of me, I don't know why they call it that, because it's not universally fit. It doesn't fit every pen. So for instance, I cannot fit a Sharpie in there. Too big. This simple Bic pen, too small. and I'll show you why in a second. This pen will work as long as, did I open this all the way? Sorry, I'm going to show you this. Just give me a second. This pen will work, but you notice that the clip only allows it to come out so far. And in this case, it's far enough. But if you had a pen that this was really long or the barrel was really short, the clip on doesn't work. Okay. And it's a ballpoint pen. So when it's a ballpoint pen, you need to know that it's fluid, that the ink is going to flow well. It's not running low on ink because otherwise it's not going to mark properly. And then this one, I don't know if you can see this, but it has this weird kind of bevel on there. So it doesn't fit either. So it's not very universal in my book. However, I do have this pen, and I believe I shared the link for this pen that I have bought just for this. And what you're going to do is, let me put the cap back on for a second. What you're going to do is this gray ring, you lift up on it and it moves, right? And that basically tightens down on the inside around your pen. So that's where it's universal because it goes from one size to another, but it's very limited anyway, right? So I'm going to put this pen inside, and the way they want you to do it is you use this little stand and you see the arrows on both sides here. You line it up with these arrows and it slides in like that. And then you stand it up and you take a piece of paper and you slide it underneath this opening, in this opening, not under it, and stand it down like this. And then you put the pen inside until it drops down to the piece of paper. And then holding the barrel, you lift up on that and you turn it to the left until it's held into place, right? Now you no longer need this part and the pen is in place. It can be moved, but it's not going to fall out, right? The easy way, and Sarah Williams did this, that's another demo that's under guide number 2 in the main group, where instead of fussing around with this and the piece of paper, all you do is you come over here. I see your hand, Sue. What's up?
Oh, I just wanted to, I don't have that. This is mine
Okay,
out of my machine.
hold on a second.
It doesn't have a hole to the top.
Hold on, Sue. I can't see you. Hold on.
Okay.
That's the fabric cutter.
Oh, this is the fabric cutter, so I don't have an ink thing. Did it not come with the machine?
Okay, let me show you. Let me show you what you
Because I may not have it.
you may not have
Yeah.
what I'm speaking of. Okay,
Yeah,
so
okay.
go back to what I have
Okay.
and get here. Okay, this is the pen holder that I bought independent of the machine. My machine came with this pen holder and it fits these markers, which are brother markers. That's these right here. Okay. I bought this separate. It did come originally with one of these, but it dried out. So I bought a new set. I personally prefer this. If your machine did not come with this, Sue, then you'll need to either purchase this or this. I think this is probably cheaper on Amazon, but I'm going to show you why I don't like it. So
I
then you
think I found it. I think it was taped inside the other
Okay,
envelope.
it
So.
looks like this, right? And it says brother and it shows the ink pen.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then you're
Okay.
set. Do you have a marker?
Okay, thank you.
You have the marker?
Yep, I do. I have 2 of them, actually. There's a blue one and a purple one. So I
Okay.
just found they're still taped in the drawer. As you can see, I haven't used the machine.
Okay, so we're going to come over here right now. What I have loaded in here is my cutting blade, the auto blade. Do you guys hear my neighbors mowing?
No.
Okay, good. I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to remove this. If I hadn't done this before we start with going to the process of drawing, it will tell you. It'll tell you that you have the wrong holder in place and they're talking about this, okay? I'm going to take that out, put that there. And then I'm going to place this. Now, the back side is flat. It goes against the back. We're going to put it inside of there, and all you're gonna do is click it into place. Then what Sarah did, instead of doing the holder with the scrap of paper and doing that, she clamps it into place. However, wherever it is, wherever it's extended out, doesn't matter. She puts it in, you just put it in here. Put it in here, put it down. And then push the top of the pen down until you know it's hitting the mat, okay? It's hitting the bottom. And then lock it into place, simple as that. Okay, so now the marker's in place. We're gonna load our mat.
Quick
So-
question, with your pen, like I can still lift mine out.
Yep, it's
That's okay?
loose, but
Yeah.
as long as you can get it to stay down, you shouldn't need to lift it, and it won't lift out on its own
Okay.
technically, but I'm going to show you what it does so that you can make a decision whether you like yours or not.
Okay.
So once again, mat gets loaded between these two ridges and under the roller, right? It's there. I'm holding the back of the mat with my left hand, and I'm going to press this button to load. And now it's loading. I'm helping it in. Okay, it's loaded. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the fact that our image, our pattern that we want to cut and draw is still waiting in the waiting room, kind of like you guys do for Zoom. It's you're waiting in the waiting room. You got to retrieve your data, right? So right there at the bottom of my screen, retrieve data. Now it's asking you where is it coming from? It's coming from the cloud. You would think that it was coming from here because that's where we sent it. No, it's coming from the cloud. And now it's retrieving the data. And I don't know if you can see it, but all three lines are showing up on my screen, and yours should show the same.
Yes.
Okay, so here's where I told you where I placed my cardstock based on where I knew this image was on the screen in Canvas, but maybe you didn't pay attention to that. Doesn't matter. If you want to ensure that your cardstock or the material that you're going to cut is in the right place so that this image will lay over it and cut the material properly, all you do is scan your mat. So this button right here is going to scan your mat, and it says scan the mat to show as a background. Put material to scan on the mat and set it to the machine and press start. So we're going to press start. Now it's going to scan this mat. And then it's going to show you on the screen where is the cardstock in relationship to my image. And if you're using white cardstock, it might be a little challenging for you to see it, but you should, if you're using white, you should be able to see a faint line around this, or you can come over here to the wrench and you see where it says background. You can switch it from a dark background to a light background. If it's already light, you can switch it back to dark. Try either one and see which one shows up better for you. Again, if you're using white, it may not show up super well. But if you put your paper at the top of the mat in the way I did, it should be just fine. Any questions?
It told me I had it on 1, which was down. It's telling me to put it on 2.
Put it on 2. Whatever it's telling you, just, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead and do that. Because now you're dealing with the cutting mat, not the scanning mat, right?
Right.
Okay. So everybody should be here, yes?
Yeah, but you have only 2 lines showing. I am for some reason showing 3.
Okay, so you can't see it on mine, but there are 3.
Oh, there are, okay.
Because the middle line, which is our draw line, is blue on my screen because it's not a cut line.
Okay.
Okay, do you have a blue line or something like that, Sandy?
Mine are all gray.
But you have 3 lines, yeah?
I have 3 lines, but they're all
Okay,
gray.
then you're good.
Okay.
All right, so we know that our image is where it should be. It's within the area of the material, so we're good. We're going to select OK. Now it's asking you to select. Well, what am I selecting? Let's find out. Oh, okay. It's asking me, do you want to cut? Do you want to draw? Do you want to emboss? Blah, blah, blah.
Draw.
Yes, better practice is to draw first
Yes.
before cutting. And that's why we loaded our pen, right?
Right.
So we're going to draw. Now, had I not changed my pen from the cutting blade, it would tell you have the wrong holder in. Okay, it'll say wrong holder. All right, so now on your screen, you should have only one rectangle because that's the only thing it's drawing, right?
Correct. Right.
Okay, so we are good. Now you can test it if you want. I don't do that. Not on a draw. I'm not going to test it. I'm just going to do it. And this, you just press start. And again, it says the lever is set to 1, position it to 2. Whatever it tells you to do, switch it. It's always in the wrong position no matter what. Okay, so we're going to go okay, and we're going to start.
I did it.
You did it?
I did it.
Okay. So it's finished. It says finished drawing. Now I want to show you what, I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
But do you see how it didn't draw right here? And it didn't quite draw right here. And it didn't quite draw right here. And it didn't quite draw right there. Do you see that?
Yes.
This is
Why?
why I don't like the universal pen.
Oh, but mine works.
This is a brand new pen. So what pen did you use, Sandy?
I use the permanent, Sharpie.
Okay, so I couldn't get a Sharpie to fit in my pen holder.
Yeah, I got it to
Is
fit.
it the fine tip?
Fine tip, yeah.
Okay, so that may be one of the reasons why. All right, cool. I'm glad it worked for you. But now I'm going to switch it out. For those of you that are not using the universal pen holder, I'm going to do the other pen, the brother pen. So I'm going to take this out. And then I'm going to use this. So if you're going to use this, on the back side, you just push this little tab in and it opens up. You're going to take your marker, take the cap off, and simply plop it inside like that, right? And so it's showing, sorry, can you see? There you go, like that, right? And then just close the cap. And
How
then
did you do that again? I can't.
yeah.
Yeah, because apparently, oh,
So
squeeze that.
the back
Okay, I didn't
side,
squeeze it.
this little thing just pushes in.
Yeah.
You push that in, okay?
Okay.
Open it up, pop it in, and snap it down.
Well, apparently I have both. Okay, I didn't realize I had it, but yes, I have it.
Okay, this is the back side.
Mhm.
So you always show the label to the front and plop that in. Now, when you just drop it down, push it down so it clicks into place. If it's not clicked into place, this will not lock into place. This will not go all the way down. Okay. Is everybody there?
Yes.
Anybody lost? Everybody's good. Okay.
Jen?
All right. So I'm going to show you if you're, I'm going to just go, okay. For those of you that are not using this marker, just watch. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the please select. I'm going to select draw. It's showing me the same box and I'm just going to press start. Now I'm going to show you another reason why I don't like this universal pen. Thanks, Lorraine. Have a good one. Sue, question?
Yeah. Can you do two things for me? Show us if you're not centered, how to change the position of the design. And also when I hit start, it said it needed to change to a 12 by 24 mat on mine.
Okay, so that's because your machine is set currently at a 12 by 24. So let me go up here and show you. And I'm not sure what the other question was. I'm going to have to get some clarification.
Okay, yeah,
So
no problem.
bear with me for just a second,
Yeah.
everybody. Actually, let me finish this process and then I'll show you too. Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. So what I want to show you here.
I'm doing Nothing alarm, but I'm home.
Can you mute your mic, please? I don't know who's talking.
That's
I think it's
Carol. Carol.
Can you mute, please?
I muted it.
Thank you. All right. So what I'm going to point out here, and I don't know if you can see this, but with the marker, and I did this yesterday and it was really bad, but with the marker, it's not exactly on the same line. The black marker is not the same line as the red marker, but the red marker went all the way around with a solid line. So there's a good chance that using this with a pen, because we discovered that it will not lock it down into place. It won't keep it from moving up and down. And that means to me that it also doesn't necessarily keep it not moving from side to side as it's going around the page. And that, I don't know, I just feel like that's not going to give you the most accurate line. And if that's important, if that's what you need, this may not be your best choice. That's my opinion. Okay, so we've done the draw line. Now we're going to do the cut line. We have one more thing to do. So we've come back up here. We're going to, so please select. And now we want to cut, right? So we're going to cut. Now it shows only 2 lines that need to be cut because that's the only 2 lines that are going to be cut. Now this is where I like to do a test. You don't have to, but I'm going to show you how you do a test. You go test. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little red square on your screen, and mine's right down here. If yours is anywhere within your pattern, move it. Just take your pen, your stylus, and move it. You got to click it till you hear it make a sound and move it out of the way. Okay? And FYI, right here, if this tells you that if you want to change the shape of the test cut, you would select this and you can make it a square, you can make it a triangle, an arrow, a circle, you can move it around. Okay, you can change the height and the width of it. Your test, this is all for your test square. Okay. Mine is currently a triangle, and that's because I want to see it do diagonal cuts. Okay. For whenever I'm cutting other things. All right. So we're going to do a test. If you want to do one with me, make sure that your test square is not in your pattern. And then you just press start. Attach appropriate holder. What does that mean?
You need to have your blade.
That's right. You're still with the marker. You got to get the blade in there. That's what I was talking about earlier. So take this out.
Tricky.
Just open it up. Oops. Put the cap back on. Cap back on. Get your blade. This is my auto blade. I do not use a rotary blade. Rotary blades are designed for thicker material, and maybe with leather or thicker leather, maybe you want a rotary blade, but I've only used the auto blade, and that's what's loaded here. Same process. This is the back side. Rubber sticks out front, push it down, and clamp it down. Everybody have their blade changed out?
Yes.
And then you're going to select, okay, I will change it. And it's done. Now we can start the test. So you keep your questions in your mind, okay? Because I'll get back to you.
I got one fixed, the 12, the size of the mat, but the other one is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my test square was at the bottom area of my cardstock.
Okay.
And you see it right there. So this is where I use my stiletto to get that pulled out. And the idea here is to make sure that it cut all the way through, right? And you can see it did. What it doesn't show you is if it cut through your mat. Now, you would think with an auto blade, the design of the auto blade is that it wouldn't do that, but I'm here to tell you it will cut through your mat if you're not careful. So this is not a perfect professional grade, I should say, machine, but it does the job for the most part. Okay, so did everyone's test square come out right? I'm gonna assume the silence means,
I didn't do one.
okay, well, if you didn't do one, that's okay too. So we're gonna go up here and we're gonna press start, because if you need to test again, it's because it didn't cut properly. But you can't test again until you fix the problem, right? So test again, I could go through that, but I won't since some of you didn't test. So we're gonna just go start. And it's now gonna cut. All right, Shirley, glad to hear it. Okay, so up here it says finish cutting. What I like to do before I remove the mat is I take my spatula and I want to lift away the excess material, because once again, even though the test cuts cut properly, maybe sometimes it doesn't cut properly all the way through all the areas. So I just lift that up and peel it away before I remove the mat. Why do I do that? Because if it didn't cut, like let's say it was here and I start lifting and it's hung up here, I can just place it back down, right? I would place it back down. I would send it back through the machine to cut again without moving it. Because once you unload the mat, even if you haven't taken your material off the board, off the mat, when you load it back, it's not going to be in the same spot, not going to be in the same exact spot. So just lift this material away. And now I'm going to use my stiletto because I know that little spatula is not going to get this innermost part. I'm going to lift that away. So everything was cut properly. So now I have my pattern piece cut and drawn. As simple as that. Yay. Okay, so let me remove this spotlight and I'm gonna go to Sue. Sue, tell me what your question was.
Okay, where are you? I guess see where you are. Okay.
Spotlight you. Hi.
Oh, you don't have to do that. Okay. The question is that when I scan, when generally, not me, when we scan the shape that with the cardstock in and out to know where the placement of the design, the image is going to be. If it's a hair over too much, can you show us how to relocate that?
So
possible?
You're talking about in Canvas?
No, on your, when you scan your cardstock, the chunk you have found, you've gotten, and your image goes on top of the cardstock in the diagram on your.
Oh, you're talking, okay, got it, gotcha. Okay.
Okay, and I found the 12 by 12. I fixed that and I already cut my things, so I'm done. I just wanted to know, can you show us how to relocate the design? Okay, thank you.
Let me select, let me get this out of here. I'll get you out of the hot seat. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. I'm going to put this back. Let's do this. I'm going to put this back. I'm just going to play with this for a second so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see if this works. I'm just putting, actually, let me get a full piece of cardstock. Second. Okay. I'm going to put a new piece of cardstock on and I'm going to move it. I'm going to put it in a spot that is not where I put it last time, just so you can see what I'm talking about. All right. Let me put this back here. I'm going to go ahead and load this. Now you notice I moved my cardstock down. It's not up here at the top. So this would be what you're talking about. And I'm going to load my mat. Okay, I'm going to go back. Now, I'm up here. This is my old image, but I'm here. You want to scan the mat, right? So we're going to scan to see what's in the background. And then you'll see it's not where it should be. Okay. So I'm not sure if you can see, but part of the image is above the mat, the material. Do you see that? Part of the image, it's hard to see it, but just a hair of it is right along the top edge. So I need to move it. So you're going to select edit. And you see these arrows that go in all directions? That is your move button. I want to move it. And that means I'm moving the image, obviously, because you can't move them. You can move the material, but it's easier just to move the image. So now it's got a red line around your image. And you can use this arrow and you can go one at a time if you only need to move a hair, or you can hold it down and it goes really fast. Did you see that?
Yes.
Goes really fast if I move it, or I can move it over this way or up this way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so once again, edit object. You can edit the object itself because it's now still up here above the mat, above the material. And if I zoom in, maybe you can see that better. You see that red lines just above the hair?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
sorry, hair above the paper?
Yeah.
All right, so we want to move it down. We want to move it down. You can go one at a time and just move it or hold it down and it moves. Did you see that?
Yes.
Make sense?
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Teresa,
Yes.
you can also just click on the object and move it with your stylus,
Yep.
drag it.
Yep.
I use this a lot when I'm using scrap pieces that are really odd shape. Let's say I'm just doing a bunch of washers on a scrap piece of paper. I can
Yep.
just move them exactly where I want.
You're absolutely right. You can just hold it and move it yourself with the stylus. I'm not good with this because I never get it exactly where I want it, but this is a good way to at least move it very quickly into one location, and then you can refine it, that position, if you want, using this. But thank you, Teresa, for reminding me of that. All right. Any other questions? Let me get out of here. Okay, so with that, we have hi, Janice. What's up?
Sorry. So you just answered the one question I had, but I have thin paper.
Thin paper?
Is thin paper, I know they sell it. So like if you were, I don't know what you would use it for, make it a card maybe. Is that require a special mat or special?
So yeah, thinking again in terms of the fact that this machine was designed for paper crafters. Your standard tack mat should handle a lot of different papers, but you can get a light tack. The standard is like medium. They've got light, medium, and heavy, I think it's called. I would go with a lighter because if you're going to use anything, even like your printer paper, you know, some printer paper is thicker than others, but if you're going to use printer paper, you'll go to peel it off after you've cut and everything will just tear.
Yeah, so a thinner mat, okay.
Yeah.
And then has anybody done like a pop-up card or anything like that?
A what?
A pop-up
Pop-up
card.
card?
Open it and everything pops up. Has
I
anybody
have
done
not.
it?
I don't do paper craft at all. So this is the first time I've actually worked with paper just to do this little demo.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't have that information for you. Okay, so I want to share something with you. So in Jennifer's group, and if you don't know who I'm talking about, it's Jennifer Brody. And Jennifer Brody has a Facebook group that it's all about Brother Scan and Cut. And I always fail to remember the exact name of it. Maybe somebody can
Everything.
pop that in the chat.
Yeah.
But she has crap ton of information, and I do
Too
mean
much.
literally
Too much information.
Yes.
but she's very knowledgeable. If you, she does a million videos, and there are a million videos, and they are all under guides. I think she has them under.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, they're under guides. You have to scroll through because there's a million guides. Sometimes that's a little overwhelming. But anyway, in there,
Oh,
someone mentioned a mat hack. And what they're referencing is purchasing a mat other than a brother mat. I need to get her out here. Other than a brother mat, and adding it on top of your brother mat. Say it's an old brother mat and it's torn up. You've got, too many cuts, or it's something that you would normally just throw away. Here we go. Sandy says, everything scan and cut with Jennifer. Okay, that's the name of the group. Highly recommend going in there because there's a lot of good information. The mat hack is you purchase these mats off of Amazon, and you can get three. You see those 3 mats? You can get 3 mats for like $10 or something like that, right? And they come with sorry. One of them's, like, for instance, I've added one here. This is my, take it out of here. This is my light mat. Like I was talking about, Janice. This is my light mat. It's teal. And sorry, I got it upside down. Teal. And this is a light mat that came in the pack that I added to this mat. Okay, I want to try this hack. Now you have to cut it down slightly because it's a little too wide. It has to stay within these black borders, and it can be up here at the top. I do have it slightly above this black one, but you just don't want to cover.
Do this hack for the light mat.
Say it again.
You're saying to do this for the light.
This I just did on a light mat, and you can do it on any of them.
Yeah, right.
You're using this as a carrier at that
Yep.
point, because your machine will not recognize this mat alone.
Yeah,
So-
I haven't ever tried that because most of the stuff that I cut is leather.
I'll tell you.
And so
Go ahead.
well, the thickness would probably be, close to the max, and that would
Yep.
mean that you would have to cut a thinner piece.
Yep. So these are registration marks that you have to avoid. So as long as and I taped this because I'm like, I'm not sure about this, right? Everybody brags about it. I'm going to try it, but I'm not sure. Here's what I discovered. I used this mat initially when I was running through my demo to make sure that I had my own act together. And I ran it through. And the first time it cut fine. I don't know if you can see this because I can barely see it. The second time I ran it through, it just kept cutting.
Oh, yeah.
And cutting.
I thought it was cutting through the...
It was done cutting, but it wouldn't stop cutting.
I have that without using the extra mat.
Okay, I've not had that when I don't like this.
I think she talks about the extra cutting.
Oh, did she?
What it says, but I did remember reading that.
Okay, well, I didn't like it. So, for me, I don't want to cut through. I don't want to damage the blade if I don't have to. If this is an old mat, I guess it doesn't really matter. If this is a pack of $10 mat, I guess it doesn't really matter. But what's the point if it's not going to, I don't know. Plus, this adds thickness.
Yes.
You know that your machine tests the thickness of your mat.
So there's another lady who has taken that where your hand is at the top, taken those little squares.
Yeah.
And she has a file that replicates that, and you tape it.
Adding it to this.
And you add it to another mat.
So what she's saying is this is how your machine identifies your mat and knows whether you're using a brother mat, what kind of mat it is, whether it's light or standard. They're saying take this portion off and add it to this mat to feed it in. I'm not a fan.
I'd rather buy a mat.
I don't think they're that expensive that I would rather buy a new brother mat and know that it's gonna work and I don't have to worry about something else happening.
Yeah.
Just
As
need,
long as,
Too much leather.
yeah,
as
I
long as
agree.
you don't have to buy a new mat every week.
Well,
Teresa, I have a scan and cut and a silhouette, and a lot of people for the silhouette, and I think possibly for the Cricut, one of the hacks they talk about, which I have not tried yet, is to buy transfer paper or contact paper and put that down so that you're cutting on,
I was gonna talk about that too.
yeah, on that instead. And I mean, that would be thinner, I think, than a regular mat.
Oh,
So,
And that worked wonderful.
100%. Yeah.
I will always do that trick.
Get my transfer paper out. That's the one thing I forgot to grab. 1 second.
While you're gone, there's also a third-party pen holder that does a better job than the brother pen holder.
I missed what you said, Hope.
There is also a third-party pen holder
Okay.
does a much better job than the brother pen holders.
If you have a link, would you
I
mind?
will send it.
Okay.
Is that the 3D? The 3D?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I've heard about it.
Okay. This is transfer tape. Is this backwards to you, the writing?
No,
No.
Okay. This is transfer tape. Somebody recommended in one of our workshops, so I ordered it. And it's basically just a big big sheet of tape. That's really all it is. So it's, let me get it out. It's sticky on one side, not on the other. The side that's sticky, you have to peel plastic. There's a plastic coating, right? This protective sheet that you peel off. You put the sticky side to, you know, you can do like Ann said and put it on your mat, right? Which will protect your mat from getting dirty. And at some point I think you can just rip it off your mat. Somebody said, forget it. Once you put it on your mat, it's done. You're not going to take it off. But
well, it's better if you're doing like fabric and stuff that tends to have a lot of, junk gets on it.
absolutely.
It's easier because
Absolutely.
cleaning those mats is a pain.
It's a total pain.
It is. And Jackie, I'm very impressed. Jackie shared a picture with me of her mat before and after. Girl, good job. You did a great job. Anyway, transfer tape. You can just cut this to size. You can either put it, like I said, on your mat, the whole mat, and then add your materials, take it off, put it on. But what I have seen people do, and this is where your mat needs to be sticky to be useful. You take this and you put it on the back of your leather or say vinyl, anything that's fuzzy on the back. And you're wanting to put the fuzzy side down on your mat. But if you do that, if you take your leather or your vinyl and it's fuzzy and you stick it directly onto your mat, after you cut and you pull away, you're going to see a hairy mess on your mat and it may be not sticky anymore and you're going to have to clean it. And we just discovered how it is a mess to clean. It's not fun. So you put this on the back of your leather or vinyl, and then you put that down on your mat. But because the sticky side is to your material, the non-sticky side is going to your mat. If your mat's not sticky, then it's not going to stick. Okay, it's pointless to use. So that is transfer tape, but it's great to keep your mat clean. And if you have to clean your mat, I'm going to show you what I use. I did this in the first video and I talked about it a little bit, but I didn't actually clean the mat. So let me get this out of here. I have my mat. Take this off. All right. Switch cameras. Okay. So over here, this is my mat, my dirty mat. I cleaned, you probably can't even tell it, but I cleaned this area and what I used, it doesn't matter the brand, as long as they are alcohol-free baby wipes. Okay, they call them tidy bottom wipes. But it has to be alcohol free, okay? That's the one that's important. You take one of these out and you gotta do scrub-a-dub. And it takes a lot of elbow grease. So if I want to scrub this side, let's say, right, you can see that it doesn't just come right off. But it takes some work, but you can get it all off eventually. Other people have been known to put the mat in a sink with some warm soapy water using, I think Dawn dishwasher soap or washing soap, dishwashing soap.
Just make sure you don't use the super wash or whatever that
Oh, the
power
power
wash,
wash?
because that has a lot of alcohol in it.
Oh, okay, good to know. So you're talking about the power spray wash?
Yes.
Yeah.
That has a lot of alcohol in it.
But anyway, you can see how much crap is on there, and I haven't even gotten it all off, but I'm not gonna waste your time by showing you how to clean it. But you do want to clean the whole area. And it's really important to keep the black area clean as well, because those are all recognized by your machine. And then, where's my zig? And then I use this product called Zig. Zig memory system two-way glue. This one feels light. It might be empty. I have another one. Anyway, it's got this rather spongy tip, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's pale blue. And when you put it down on your mat, you have to pump it a few times to get the glue down into the bottom, and then you can see it. And it goes on very pale blue. And this is all I do is go across the mat like this, trying to make sure they overlap, just like this, all the way. And I'm just going to do this one corner, and if I need some more, I drop it down. You probably can't see on your camera, your screen, that it's blue, but it comes out this pale blue, and then it turns white. And then I'm going to go back over it this way too, just to make sure that I get enough glue on there. The most important thing is that once you've done your entire mat, you must let this set to dry for 24 hours. If you put anything on this before that, you're not going to get it off. Ask me how I know. Okay. So that is how you re-tack your mat. And I'm going to say to you that if your scan and cut machine came with a mat and it's still under warranty, this will void your warranty. Just so you know that. Mine has been well beyond the warranty stage, so I don't have to worry about that. And if you don't really have to worry about it either, if you don't want to, but so I think that oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to share with you just quickly. You don't have to follow along, but I wanted to share with you what happens when you frame your image.
Oh,
What I've found happen. So I'm going to put my pattern back in my scanning mat.
it's a very impressive pattern piece, let me tell you.
Yes, and I'm going to go back to my other camera.
Okay.
Nope, wrong one. That's my camera. Okay, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to load my mat. Oh, it wants to go crooked again. You just press that pause button if that happens to you and unload it. I don't know why it's happening.
But it looks like when you put your hand down, I think you're off centered. You're not standing in front of your machine because your hand is making it shift.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to stand in a very exact position in order to load them correctly.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to scan it just like we did. And let's start it. And the lever's in the wrong position, of course. I'm going to switch it. And I'm going to press start. It's just a refresher for you guys.
Yeah, no, okay, can you go back? Because I'm trying to do another image here and I'm not getting it. It's like,
Okay, hold on, Sandy.
I'm gonna go back home. Okay.
Okay, so this I just scanned, right? And the image is on my screen. And it's at a point now, again, with your 325 and your maybe the 225s, this may not even be an option for you. I don't even recall. But in this case, it is still an option for me and it causes a nightmare. So I don't know if you can see, but my image on the screen is fairly similar to the pattern, right? It looks pretty much the same. I'm going to frame it. And all that means is I'm bringing these arrows in, which reduces the number of lines that it's supposed to reduce the number of lines that like the edge of the page gave us is no longer going to be there. So I framed it and I'm going to go, okay. And that's the only point of it, is just kind of reduce any extra marks that you're going to have to get rid of. Now, it looks pretty good there, but I'm going to see, it'll probably make a liar out of me. So now I'm going to select this one just like we did. Now look at all those squiggly lines. You see them?
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
I can show you because we're gonna move it to Canvas and show you what it does. Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen. Get out of here. Share screen. And go back to Canvas. I gotta get rid of this. This is my old one. Come on. Get rid of it. Cancel. Don't save. All right, let's go back in there. I'm gonna start from the beginning. Out of here, get out of here. And I'm going to import my file from my cutting machine. Now watch this. Look at that. Do you see this?
Yeah.
After framing it.
Wow.
And you go, okay, well, I can get rid of all that stuff. I know how to do that. But what happens is in this mess, it has even distorted the lines that you need to keep. There will be no straight lines. They'll have a blip in them somewhere. And I went through this like probably 5 times to discover it came through the framing. So don't frame. If you have to just get rid of an extra few lines on the outside, so be it. But you won't have this mess to deal with, because when you come over to layers, look at all these shapes and lines that you have to get rid of. Do you see all this? This is craziness right here. You don't want to do that. Okay.
I don't have that framing option show up.
Well,
for me.
that's great. Good. I'm glad that you don't, because that thing is, yeah, not.
But I'm on PC, so it may make it different than what, I mean, obviously every one of us has something different, but
And I don't know enough to know that it has anything to do with your computer. I don't know. I do know that it made a difference with framing, because when I encountered this, I'm like, why is this happening? And I thought it was just from the update, which clearly it is, because it didn't happen. I was framing before the update, but now with the update, the framing isn't working properly. It doesn't make sense to me, right? I mean, why would that affect it? I don't know. Because I don't know about it,
well,
so.
I tried scanning like all the pattern pieces from the Tessa way back when I got my machine and was learning how to use it.
Yeah.
The scanning didn't bring any piece in correctly, even
Not one of them?
rectangles, no.
So are you saying that they were distorted or the wrong size, or what are you saying?
Yes, a combination of both, one or the other. I just know that I was like, this doesn't scan right. I'm not going to do it this way.
Interesting.
Make my own shapes in another program and send them over.
So I can scan some of the images in of the Tessa, but not the long ones, because I can't.
Right.
for long, right? But interesting.
And I
I will
scanned
try
like,
it.
I scanned like the front and the flap and,
Yeah, yeah.
things with curves and stuff like that. I just gave up and
Well, didn't Rebecca make SVG files for the Tessa for
she
everybody?
did, but they weren't exact.
Oh,
They
okay.
were a little up, just like what we're talking about. They're a little tiny bit
And
up.
this machine again is not, it's not professional grade
But
that,
but when it
it
works, it's brilliant.
exactly. When it works, it's amazing. Sue can tell you how frustrated it was that she was in the Dominican, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be cutting craft text for the straps of the Duchess for the workshop for the retreat, and I'm supposed to be making all of these. And what I did is I loaded a piece of foam. I wanted to just do a test run. And so I had to happen to have a scrap of foam. I loaded it in, I cut it, perfect, boom, going to town. Then I took because I was making multiples, I duplicated the pattern on the page in Canvas so that I could do 5 at a time. Transfer it over to my machine, load the craft text, it cuts. Boom, next page. Boom. And I don't know, I picked them up. I put them next to each other, and not one of them was exact as the next one. Not one of them's the right size to begin with. And each one of them were a different length. And I'm like, how did this happen? So I went back, I reloaded it. It happened again. I went back, I thought, okay, maybe the duplicate, maybe there's something about duplicating it's not right. So I just did one piece, sent it through. Every single one of those suckers was a different length.
What about when you redid them? Were the shorter ones both shorter and the longer ones both longer?
No, every
Still
single
different.
piece, not one of them was the same as the next one, not one. They
That
were
makes
all
me
off. Some of
crazy.
them were off by a hair, some of them up to a quarter of an inch. And I thought maybe my material's shifting. No, it cut it perfectly on the foam. Perfectly. And so I messaged Sue, I go, I know you're in the Dominican, but I'm pulling my hair out right now. She goes, don't worry about it, I'll do it. Okay, I'm sorry. That was
But
not.
that's what frustrates me. The whole point of the
Mhm.
machine is
Yeah.
for more accuracy. I
Mhm.
didn't buy
Yeah.
it to save time. I
Yeah.
bought it for accuracy, and it doesn't
Mhm.
give me that.
And Sue is a unicorn. She can cut anything by hand and
Oh,
it's perfect. And she can edge paint and it's perfect. And she's a unicorn. I'm not. And so I do use this for accuracy because I cannot cut accurately to save my life.
The zipper overlays. I love it to cut it for that.
Yeah.
That's why I bought it to begin with. The
Yeah.
zipper overlay.
Yeah, exactly. You put the deck of a light behind it, iron it, put it on there. It's nice, ready to edge paint, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Because if
Rhonda,
I
you
try
have
to
a
cut it
question?
out, it just doesn't come out.
Yeah.
I just don't trust it.
Right.
It's like one
Rhonda,
of those friends that you're very careful what you tell to that person because you never know what they're going to say.
that's right. Rhonda, do you have a question? Long time no see, my dear.
Yes, hello. Nice to see
Hi.
you guys.
Good to see
I
you.
remember hearing a while back on someone demoing the scan and cut about an option that when you scan a piece of fabric, leather, whatever, that the machine has a button that will make the most of your fabric. Like if you're cutting 5 different pieces, it'll put it so it's nice
So
and tight. You know what I
that's
mean?
in Canvas, not on the machine.
Okay.
If I'm understanding what you're asking about correctly, there is I forget what the button is. I'll have to look it up. But there is an option in there that you highlight like you put one image in, or even if you have 10 images separate, you hit this button and it just organizes it on the page so that it uses the least amount of material
Right.
and allows enough space between each one so that the cut line
Canvas
is accurate.
Workspace?
It's in the workspace, yes.
I don't,
You can do it on the machine. I'd have to look it up what the button is, but yeah, it'll do that.
that's
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. That's why when they updated and added a duplicate button, and I'm like, why? It was already an option. Why are you adding this? Janice, do you have a question?
Yes, I'm looking into doing the HTV on leather.
Uh-huh.
So I think I can figure out how to cut it.
So the HTV, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but applying it to leather, is there anything, is that doable or is it a
Oh,
no-no?
absolutely. Just a disclaimer, I'm not a fan of putting heat to leather.
Yeah.
That's just me. It makes me nervous because you run the risk of you can ruin the finish, if nothing else. You can even flatten out the embossing,
Yeah.
right? You can really mess up a nice piece of leather. But with that
What
said,
about it on a label, something small?
yeah, you can absolutely do it, and people do it all the time. And it's not, it's not that you can't do it. You just have to be very careful with the amount of heat and the length of time that you do it. As far as the image itself, it needs to be done. Let's say it's your initials,
Yeah,
right?
that's what it would be.
Okay, super simple. You have a few options. You can have each letter independent of each other, which the problem with that is getting them, then you have to line them up. You have to do some fussy work, right? Or they have to be connected, or they have to be grouped, right? So either you've seen the fancy logos where one letter bleeds into the other letter, that's connected. But if you want independent letters, you go into Canvas, they have a text box, they have different fonts. You pull up the font that you want, or you can even import your own image. And then you set them up how you want them. If you want them independent of each other and you want them this size, you saw where you just highlight and you go over to the width and the height, you can set it there. You don't have to try and set it yourself. And then once you have the image the way you want it, you group it, right? So they don't move. Then you have to realize that what the spacing is between each letter, because you need enough space that it can cut properly. But you also want to make sure that it's just visually appealing as well.
Yeah.
And then once they're cut, if you're doing HTV, once they're designed, if you're doing HTV, you have to flip the image so it's upside down basically, or
Mirror image.
mirrored, yes.
Mirrored.
You have to
Mirrored.
mirror it because of the way the HTV is done, right? So you mirror the image, then you send it to your machine, you mount your foil or whatever HTV you're using, and you cut it out. And then as far as putting it on leather, Sue could probably give you better tips about temperature and length of time.
What about using?
Didn't Isabel do that with the heart with her initials on it?
She did, but every piece of leather is not going to be the same as the next for how much heat and for how long. Okay.
Right.
So I always err on the side of caution. I'd start with lower heat and lower length of time and then move along. And when you press it down, you lift it up, you're just going to take like a stiletto or the little weeder that comes with your HTV paper, and you start to lift and you see if it's not sticking, you're going to put it back down and you're going to press it again. Sometimes it's a matter of multiple presses at the same heat temperature for the same length of time. Other times it's, I just need to increase the temperature or I need to decrease the temperature. I mean, all these things, you just have to do a test square and test it until it transfers the way you want it to. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What about the foil the option that the machine has? Have you ever used that?
In terms of the HTV, I've used foil, yes. To make I do the t-shirts for the demo darlings, and a lot of the letters are foil. Yeah, it's not any different.
Well, I know that they have an option on that machine to do.
Oh, you're talking about for foiling? I have not done that, no.
On the scan and cut, yeah.
Right, I have not used that.
I think that is meant more for foiling on like paper crafting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have not done that. Yeah.
The
Okay.
other thing with using HTV, I believe, is that it's mirroring the image, but you also have to half cut.
Oh, that's right. That's right. When you go
Oh,
to
half cut.
actually cut it, you go into your settings and change it to half cut.
Right.
Thank you, Amy. I forgot about that. Yeah. And the next time I do a demo darling t-shirt, I'll maybe video it so you can see how I do it.
So Teresa, what does a half cut do? Is it just not as deep?
Right. So when, like, for instance, with your transfer paper, how you have the two sheets of paper that are stuck together, right? Same thing. It's the same concept. You have a carrier sheet, and then you have your foil or the colored material that's going to go on your t-shirt or whatever it is. So the clear plastic and the colored paper, let's put it that way. When you cut it, you're only wanting to cut the part that's going to be attached to
Right.
your shirt, and you don't want to cut through the carrier, right?
It's like
Then
stickers.
then you take away the excess material, similar to what we did when we finished cutting here. We removed the excess material. When then on your carrier paper or plastic, you only have the image left that you want
Oh, okay.
to
Is it
transfer.
because the brother scan and cut figures out the depth?
Yes, it does.
Okay, because because I've done that on my Cricut, and I had to play with the settings, but
Well,
I've done that quite a bit, but it doesn't have the auto
I'll tell
sensing
you,
switch.
the auto blade is an amazing feature. However, when it comes to half cut, you do sometimes have to play with it. Sometimes it doesn't get it right. It cuts all the way through, or it doesn't cut enough, right? And so sometimes you do have to play with that one. Yeah.
So do you have to half cut when you put the transfer paper down, like you showed earlier?
No, no, because the transfer paper is, although it's similar to what you're talking about, it's meant more for either mainly to keep your mat clean, right?
Yeah.
And if you were cutting, say you wanted to cut silk or something that frays really easily, if you put transfer paper on it, then you're going to cut through it easily, and it's not going to fray, and it's not going to move around, shift around, and it's going to stay a clean cut.
But it knows not to go through the transfer paper.
No, your transfer paper, you do want to cut through. Well, if it's going to stay on your mat permanently, it's not going to cut through that anyway. If it's just a layer below, it's not going to cut through it.
I think I'll keep my silhouette for cutting letters and stuff, and I'll use this brother scan and cut for leather because I was amazed when it cut through the stuff for Serena's class.
Yeah.
And my silhouette will not. I tried multiple times. It would not even
Okay.
budge. Yeah.
Okay.
Would not do it.
Yeah, I have never used it to cut, like, it'll cut wood, apparently. It's probably a very soft wood, like balsa, but
right.
I've never done that. But it will cut wood, it will etch metal. If you have the right components, it'll do that. I've never done that either. It's meant for a lot of purposes, initially created for paper crafting. And Eileen, to answer your question, no, I never did figure out why it didn't cut properly. I just gave up on it. I still have all the sample the ones that didn't cut correctly in my closet, thinking, maybe I'll just go rogue and make a Duchess using them and see what happens. Because it's like I've got all these here already cut out. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. Anyway, okay, any other questions? I hope that this was helpful. I hope that maybe you learned something. And I've typed up the steps, but I didn't want to post them until we did this to make sure if there's something I needed to add. So I'll clean that up probably tonight. And for those of you that are watching this video after the fact, they will be posted. The instructions will be posted in the group. This video will be posted in the guide. Under the guides, it'll be a new guide. So it won't be with the same one that I did initially, which was guide number 2. So guide number 2 shows me walking you through, if you've never used it, how to transfer a SVG file and how to cut. And I think I did cleaning the mat, and there was a couple other things that I don't remember exactly what I went through. But if you haven't seen it, check it out. If you need some refreshers, there's also a step-by-step printout there for that as well. A few tips and that sort of thing to go with it. Yeah, so anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that it was helpful. And if you have any questions, if I can answer them, I'm happy to do so. You just shoot me a message or post it in the group somewhere, and I'm happy to give it a shot at answering it.
Teresa, what
Yeah.
about fabric? By the way, thank you. This was very, very
Oh,
informative.
good. You're welcome, and I hope that you were able to get through it.
I got it to work. So about fabric, I usually don't use it for fabric. I did buy a fabric mat. I just wondered what other people thought about that.
So I haven't used it to cut fabric either, but if anybody has,
I
please.
have, and it works great.
Okay. Now you use the light mat, or
I've used the light mat, and I've just used the regular mat when the fabric's interfaced.
and did you use the fabric?
I used the fabric mat for something that was lighter weight, and it worked great.
Okay, but did you use the auto blade, or did you use a different blade?
No, I didn't use the whole fabric.
The whole fabric setup. Okay.
Yes, the fabric setup.
Okay.
But normally with interfacing, I don't need to go to the fabric mat.
Okay, that's good to know, because it's not going to shift around, right? Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just got a little more oomph.
Sure. Absolutely.
Can I give you a tip?
Yes.
What I do, I take this. Can you read this?
Hold on, Esther.
Oh,
I'll let you.
Yeah, back it up.
It has to be right in front of you because of your background. Right in front of your face.
Camera, I can't see it.
Put it in front of your face.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Temporary spray adhesive.
Yes.
And you put that
And
on.
this is great. This is great for leather and for fabric. I use it normally for my embroidery machine. And you can use it for fabric, and it doesn't shift around on the mat.
Do you spray
My mat is always like this. Can you see? It's very dirty.
I can see that. Bad girl.
Wow.
It's my leather mat. And it's not sticky anymore. But if you use this, you can put the leather on and it doesn't swift around. It's great.
You spray that onto the mat, correct?
Yeah.
Very good. All right, thank you.
Like a 505 kind of thing.
Probably similar to that. But the 505 might not have the same bond. Esther, is this more of a heavy bond, or is it a light bond?
No, it's enough to hold leather on the mat.
Okay, that's all that.
But it's only temporary.
Temporary. Okay, so then it's
Yeah,
a lighter mat. Okay.
It goes away.
Yep.
In
Okay.
time, and it doesn't make it sticky, or the fabric will not be sticky.
Okay.
Or the leather is not sticky.
Oh, very
at
nice.
the end.
I like that.
Yeah, you put it away and it's not sticky anymore. It's going away in the air.
It dissolves.
Yeah.
So what is that product? I couldn't, when you held it up, I couldn't tell what it said.
Let's see it again,
The
Esther.
temporary spray adhesive.
It's
Oh, okay. Temporary spray adhesive. All right. Thank you.
SA 1100. That may be something only available in Europe. Yes, maybe.
No, I think you can have it. You can get everything in the US.
Okay.
I've seen this in the last days.
Okay. All right.
No, it's from Madeira. Do you know this?
Madeira. Oh, wait, hold on one more time.
Madeira. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Madeira. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
another one, maybe this one.
Oh, yeah. I know this one.
Yeah.
Maybe you know this.
Yeah, that's what I use.
I think you will get this in
Same thing, huh?
US or in Canada.
Does that one work as good?
Yes.
Yeah.
All,
Perfect.
all works well.
Perfect.
Whoa,
You-
it's crazy, huh?
Thank
Okay.
So Teresa,
Awesome.
I've used this one, basting spray. I don't know if you can
Okay.
see this.
Yep. Hold it right in front of your face.
Right in front of your nose.
There we go. Basting spray. What is the brand? I can't read it.
Spray and bond.
Spray and bond. Okay. Thank you. All right. So any other questions, comments, helpful tips? Happy to have you guys share.
I had a question for Esther. Did she spray that right on the mat or on the material to apply to the mat?
No, I put it on the mat.
Okay.
First, I put it on the mat like this, and then I put the leather or the fabric or something else on, and then I cut it out, and then you can put it away, and it's
So
you have to be careful to avoid that perimeter of the mat, or just kind of in the middle.
I put it on the place where I want to glue the fabric or the leather.
Gotcha.
So you don't worry about it getting along the edges, like where the black line is on the mat? It doesn't seem to affect it?
Well, I'm sorry, but I've done that, and I felt it made my rolls on my machine a little sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so I
also-
use masking tape or like the blue painter's tape.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just tape off the section.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Or you can make a little frame like what Teresa just cut.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's the
that's a good
right
idea.
size and block it.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Good ideas. Good
Yeah.
ideas. I love them. That's awesome.
Yes, you have to clean your machine.
Absolutely.
Maybe sometimes with a little bit of alcohol tips or something else.
Right.
Yeah. So are you all familiar with the scanning glass that's on the bottom?
No.
Machine?
No, I've heard about it.
If you flip it over and you remove where the little tray that comes out in the back, if you remove that, you'll see a strip of what looks like glass. And you just take a damp cloth and wipe it off. Sometimes it gets dust or lint or something on it, which can affect how your image scans. Okay. But if you don't scan very often, then it probably is not a moot point. Okay, so if you don't have any other questions, I'm gonna say thank you for joining me, and I hope that you had a informative time with me, and we'll do it again. If there's something else, let me know, then I will give it a shot and bring it to you. Yeah?
Excellent.
Yeah, fun.
Yes. Thank you.
Buddy,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Teresa.
You're awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
Teresa.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Where's my stuff?